treasurer of WLAM and chair of the Historical Preservation Committee. And I'm so pleased to be meeting with past president from 1980 and 1981, Rosemary Wolock. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I have a little, I have something on the screen that says this meeting is being recorded. I should press continued. So,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do that. And yeah, that would be fine.
Okay, great. So,
Well, um, that occurred, um, I would say after or around the same time I was going to law school. I went to Detroit College of Law, and when I came to class on the first day, there were 100 students, and 6 of them were women.
oh wow.
Oh wow, yeah, that was a hint of things to come, and we had a kind of a weird thing that happened. This was like in the second semester in real property class, and the professor was teaching and telling us about the jurisdictions in the United States which followed Spanish and French law, or as he described them, the Spicks and the Frogs.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, right. So, yeah, it was great. It was great. So after class, a group of the women went upstairs to the dean's office and complained.
good for you.
Yeah, well, maybe not. The next day we came to class. There was a petition being circulated among the students, and it was signed by all the men, every man in the class except for two. And it said, I'm going to paraphrase, um, we we just love you, Professor So and so, and you have never offended us.
Oh boy.
Okay, they were looking for the easy A's. That's why they were in that class, and they were going to get their easy A's. Well, this gave me kind of a clue of what was happening at that particular time with women in law school and in general in the world and so forth. Uh, and so um, my first reaction, along with after having discussed this in great detail, but anyway, um, discussed it with my husband, was that the next term, when there was a bunch of new women coming in, we invited them all to a wine and cheese party at our apartment. In
Oh,
addition to the in addition to the other women, so now that class I think had 15 women. You can see now those men are shaking in their boots.
right.
And we sort of continued that activity, through law school. And in fact, we extended it to Wayne State University and also to U of D Law School. And so, I mean, we were headed. I must admit that my husband and I were always politically active, so it was just like it was an easy thing for us to do. And so, after a while, our classmates got normal, and they got accustomed to the idea that there were women in the room and all that kind of foolishness. Um, so it turned out okay, but boy, I was shocked. I could not believe that a law professor would make a statement like that. And I'm not even going to tell you who he is, so because
Okay.
yeah, it's not really worth repeating. And so basically, what I would say that my um, activities in law school kind of morphed into like the Women's Bar Association. I lived in Oakland County, and so that's what I belonged to. And in fact, most of the time throughout my career, I belonged to both Oakland and Wayne. because I got around. Um, but nevertheless, at that time, all of the all of the various entities, all of those bar associations, including Washtenaw County and I can't even Macomb County. There was one out to the east in the county there. I can't really be sure because I don't have that, like material in front of me, but there were several of them. And so the first thing that I did was I ran for to be the president of the Women's Bar Association. Yeah, and that was a good group of people. Um, I remember, like people you may have never heard of, but who were I don't want to call them elders, but people like Hilda Gage, who was a well-known attorney, and on and on, really good people. But I was pushing the idea of getting all these organizations together in one group, Women Lawyers Association of Michigan. And everybody was pretty cool with that, except for two women in Oakland County. They were just completely, and I don't even know why. I mean, I don't know what was going on in their minds, and I really didn't want to know. And so finally, one day there, towards the end of my tenure, I just called for the question. Now, I did not even like say, "Oh, we're going to vote on this next month." No, we're going to vote on this right now. We voted, it passed, and so from thenceforward, all of the groups who women lawyers belong to were under the aegis of Women Lawyers Association of Michigan. So then we were, kind of going into a different stage because different kinds of things were happening, and there were a lot of very significant appointments that were made during the Blanchard administration, for one thing, and excuse me for a second. I'm talking about Patricia Boyle, Dennis Archer, Marianne Battani, Julia Darlow, Marilyn Kelly, just wonderful, wonderful attorneys and judges. And so that was, every time one of those things happened, that just made you feel really great, like we are really, really making some kind of progress here. And there was one other thing, probably a lot of people didn't even notice this, and I cannot tell you what year this happened. I know that there were five um, big bar associations that were, I don't know, based in Detroit, or one of them was WLAM, another one was MTLA, the Detroit Bar Association, the Wolverine Bar Association, and I know there were five of them. There's one more, and I can't think of what it is. But in that year, every one of those groups was headed by a woman. Yeah, it was really sweet. And I'm sure as time went on, they probably spread those things out. That didn't necessarily happen again, but that was a big deal. So we were all pretty excited about that, to say the least. Um, and basically talking about, I'm looking at something which is not exactly follows along with this, because it's really at a time when my husband and I were honored, and it's like our careers and separately. So I'm just looking to see if I don't think I really missed anything that's really significant. A lot of other things that we did were political, and they're not really, I'm not saying they're irrelevant, but they were not, not what we're here talking about today. So
Okay. So if I could ask a couple of follow-up questions. What year did you enter Cal?
I can tell you that. I believe it was 1972. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then verify. So there was
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was super. Oh, when I ran for president of WLAM, following my political, way of doing things, I actually campaigned. I went to every one, every one of those places. I went to Ann Arbor, I went to Grand Rapids, you know, and met people and so on. I was sad. I really liked the woman that I defeated. She was a good woman. She would have been a good president, but you got to get out there and hit the pavement. If Yeah, right.
And what do you know now that you wish you would have known during leadership of WLAM?
Hmm. I don't know that I can think of anything like that because what I was doing with WLAM was an outgrowth of what I was doing in my daily life, in my personal life, my political life. It was just all on the same track. So, I don't know. I can't think of anything.
That's fine. Did you have any particular goals for the department?
Um, I felt like there was plenty to do, just in running an organization.
Right, right. And so it sounds like maybe like the greatest accomplishment during your term was bringing in all of these leaders.
Yes, I would say that, and also um, supporting because we didn't support like um, I don't know if we did like interviews and endorsements or anything. I don't really remember that, but
Okay.
in terms of like Patty Boyle, for example, did we do that? I can't remember. I mean, it was so clear, that we were supporting her.
Right.
Yeah, so I can't recapture that. It's a few years in the past.
That's okay. That's okay. What are your favorite WLAM memories?
Um, my favorite WLM memories. Well, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I really liked it when they had that big party in the hotel in downtown, which was I don't know how many years it had been in existence at that time,
Oh,
but
20 plus?
yeah, and it was just so nice to see, and not only to see the people that I knew, but the ones I didn't know, young women who were just
Mm-hmm.
entering the law practice.
Right.
Yeah, that's really super.
Okay, well that's good. Do you have any like future presidents?
Whoa, I don't know. For me, it was such a personal thing. I don't know. I mean, if somebody asked me, what do you think I should do about X or Y, I would certainly sit down and discuss it with them, but I don't have any big
Oh, yes.
general. I should mention that I have a daughter who's an attorney.
Oh,
Yes, she's at Dickinson Wright,
okay.
and I have a daughter who teaches early grades in a school in Texas, and another daughter who is a professor at the University of Wisconsin. And
Wow.
so, I mean,
So
I
you got some accomplishments in your life.
I do indeed, and I'm very happy about that.
Well,
Yeah,
that's great. And I'm sure they're also proud of the accomplishment.
yes. Well, I guess I'll say one other thing, and that is, sadly, my husband passed away 6 years ago, and that's very hard because he was my partner, you know, in everything that I did, and so um, I just wish, I could turn back time and make something else happen, but we can't do that, and so we have to muster forward.
Okay. And sorry about your husband. I'm sure that is very hard for, but I'm sure that
Yeah, right. Well, I just wanted to keep on keeping on, you know. Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I see them going in different directions. I just see as the years go by, you know, Mary Ann Batani isn't with us anymore, okay? But there's somebody else, you know, so yes, yeah, good way to put it. Um, you know, I'm sure that when I worked in a law firm for a few years, and maybe this will wrap up the end of my story. Um, it was pretty well known in Oakland County where many of the partners were having affairs with their secretaries. Yeah, that was really ugly. So I was in private practice for 3 years, and then, I was out. I went the public service route. That worked much better for me. That it's amazing how stupid and ugly people can be. But yeah, so I'm sure, I'm not saying that happens in every private firm because it doesn't, but you know, that one was there were two or three really outstanding men there, and then the rest of them were just dogs. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Um, no, not really. I guess what I would think about is the fact that due to COVID, I have been stuck at home for more than 2 years, and it's really difficult. And someday I'm going to walk out the door. You know what I mean? Yeah, because my daughter and son-in-law are very concerned about protecting my health and everything. I mean, I am now 75, and so that's something to think about. But boy, I could never have imagined how rough this has been. Mhm. Okay, and I need some information from you, which is the telephone number where I can call and pay for my dues. I got, okay,